share. Okay, share the.
Okay, Drishya will give you the permission to share the screen.
Okay.
I'll start the session and then you can take over. Drishya, I'll leave after that.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depends on where you are based. A very warm welcome to day 3 of the 3rd International Conference and Pop Festival for Youth-Led Climate Action 2021. We are delighted to have you all join us for one of the biggest youth-led events for climate action. My name is Komal Mittal and I am based in India. The POP family is excited to welcome you all to this session, which will focus on the topic on education on climate policy to achieve climate action. The reason we are here in this global climate crisis is because of our collective action that came from a place of ignorance. And so in order to reverse the crisis, we need positive collection that comes from a place of awareness. Understanding climate policy is important because climate change affects all of us and we cannot entrust our well-being and future only in the hands of a few and expect change. We have to get involved as much as possible. We are very happy to have you all join us for this very meaningful conversation. Our esteemed partners, Carbon Initiative Forum, will take over the workshop now. Thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you, Komal, for the introduction. I will take over now. And Vishvak, if you could please share our presentation. Yeah, I can see it. It's not in the slideshow mode.
I think it's a PDF, so it won't turn into a slideshow.
So it's a PDF
you can do a full screen of a PDF. No, last time we had done the same thing.
Go to the view, and I think there should be one option.
I think one of our team members got logged out, Deepak. He just messaged me. I'll just ask him to rejoin. Yeah, I think we can start. Just please make sure Deepak joins in. Okay, so I'm just going to start now. Hello, everyone. Climate change is going to leave a trail of destruction behind, not for the planet, but for the billions inhabiting this planet. Here we not only refer to the human population, but to the millions of species of wildlife whose home is just the same as us. We continue destroying their habitats for our own selfish consumerism. Couple this with the millions of people who are trapped in a circle of poverty and are struck with a problem of gigantic proportions, not of their own doing, but a bunch of greedy humans. You would be shocked to know that just 100 companies have been the source of more than 70% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions for the last 30 years. Yes, that is correct. Let that sink in. And these are all these companies that we actually as consumers want and support and demand because we keep using their products, so they will keep going on. Hello, everyone. This is Rashi Mehta from Carbon Initiative Forum. And today with my team, Vinayak, Vishvak, Deepak, and Sanju, we're going to take you through an educational and interactive session on the importance of education on climate change and related policies and how it can help in sparking climate action and boost sustainable living. Next slide, please. So I'll take you through a little bit about Carbon Initiative Forum. We are a nonprofit that aims to educate the youth through the mainstreaming of climate policy and education. The main demographic is the youth, who we believe will be instrumental in the country's environmental fate as future decision makers. We don't believe that climate change has a single solution. There are a variety of solutions, and we all need to take collective action. We are a comprehensive platform to ask the right questions to the right people and gain clarity, while also educating the public about existing, impactful, and in-progress solutions towards the climate crisis in our country. Our target audience mainly consists of youth of 14 to 28-year-olds. That being said, our target audience does not merely limit itself to the youth, but wishes to empower citizens and corporations across the country to get aware and get involved. Next slide, please. So one of our main objective is to create city-level chapters which work at city-level issues. This movement will be run by dedicated volunteers. We want to create a community of change makers who will enable a larger movement and consequently a larger impact, wherein the current authorities, the government, the businesses, industries could be held accountable. This will help bring to their attention the ecological impacts that development has been having on the climate and will have in the future. Our vision is to become a national platform growing and collated by the people, and these are people from all walks of life who can connect with the youth. This youth will be the bearers for the change that we desperately need in the form of climate action and be the voices for the local communities who bear the greatest consequences of climate change. Next slide, please. Here I will take you through the importance of climate clubs or like joining a local city chapters. So the first step is to start building back better. You can join a climate club or a local city chapter and be the planeteers our planet needs. Whether you're a lifelong environmentalist or someone who's just new to starting out as an activist or someone who's totally new to the concept of climate change overall, I'm sure that there will be a place for you in your local city chapter. There are a lot of benefits of joining a local city chapter. You could learn from the network, you could connect with engaged climate volunteers, you could help facilitate climate awareness, and you could also help drive support for climate policy. I would like to tell you that we at CIF also have a CIF Climate Club. Our goal is to build 6 city-wise chapters for India. So volunteer for climate change awareness and dialogue movement and become a climate champion. Support and drive policy for climate action, as well as compulsory climate education in schools and colleges globally. Climate change is forcing our societies to change, our economies and our world to change. Our ways of doing business, our careers, and our job opportunities need to change too. Thank you, everyone. Now I will pass on to my teammate Vishvak, who will be taking you through the importance of basic climate literacy. And why should climate change be taught in schools?
Thank you, Rashi. Hi, everyone. My name is Vishvak, and I'm a volunteer with the Carbon Initiative Forum. So today, we're presented with a very simple and stark truth. Climate change is happening. And one of the ways we know this is from the fact that the frequency of natural disasters is increasing, quite evident from the infographic that's shown here. So just in the year 2017, the occurrence of natural disasters like floods, cyclonic storms was comparable, and for some types of disasters higher even to the same disasters that happened in a 10-year period between 2007 and 2016. The planet is not what it always was. We are changing it, and the Earth is giving us a lot of signals that something is wrong. Climate change is not something that will happen. It has already started. And we need to stop it from becoming worse. And we need to do it together. This next infographic here depicts climate actions taken by different countries around the world, and it's color-coded for the progress on Paris Agreement goals. While most of the countries have been insufficient or worse with their actions to mitigate the debilitating impacts of climate change, some countries are seen with a tick mark next to their names here. These countries have gone beyond empty pledges and political statements to either enact laws or actually have some policy documents aimed at net zero emissions by 2050, or in some cases sooner. Of course, in many cases, this may not be enough, and it is up to us as responsible citizens of not just these countries, but of the planet as a whole, to hold our political systems accountable for their actions or the lack of it. The time to act is now. And for these countries, and in this infographic, there are some countries shown in green and blue. We need to also question and critically understand the data that's coming out of these countries. What are they doing to achieve their goals? And what more could they be doing? As a species, our priorities are misplaced. the way we look at sustainability and the way we look at climate change is in the angle of doing something good for the environment, or saving the planet. But that's really not the case. It is 100% about our own existence and choosing better odds for ourselves and choosing the kind of world we all want to live in, to be honest. The far reaching planetary scale of our actions needs better communication, something that I think this cartoon very succinctly brings out. Climate change mitigation actions also need money. Importantly, the UNEP Adaptation Gap Report talks about developing countries which have some plans for decarbonization and adaptation actions, but often very little finance to implement these plans. The future of today's youth is marred by climate change, but we are also the ones who can do something about it. And for this, we need knowledge about what climate change is, how it is affecting us, and how we can adapt to a changing planet. We need the knowledge to inspire ourselves and our peers as well into action through civil groups and governments for our own futures. We need to understand climate policy, its implementation at the local level, and help inspire change. How will we hold our policymakers accountable if we do not understand issues at a more granular level? So most human societies, if you really look at it, are structured around centralized decision-making systems, whether it is at the village level, at the regional level, at the national level, or at the planet. And by virtue of these structures, collective action requires that we focus advocacy efforts at these levels of decision-making where large-scale impact can be effected. Tackling the ill effects of climate change and adapting to these changing circumstances requires such collective action. And unfortunately, we don't have the time to drag our feet anymore. The status quo needs to change, and it needs to change now. Changing the status quo means making more people aware of what the problem is, how they can contribute, educating ourselves and the people around us as well about decisions taken towards climate action at all levels, local, regional, national. As primary stakeholders, as the youth, we need to make people in power answerable to us. They will be long gone when we're battling natural disasters at the scale the planet has not seen since humans first emerged on Earth. And for this, we need education. Youth today are conscientious in that we want action and we want our ambience as well to reflect our ideals, whether it is with our jobs or where we invest our money. There is, of course, a dichotomy in that political action is often missing. Our ideals aren't represented at the policy level in many places. And it doesn't help that the teachers in our education system are not given the tools to equip themselves and the leaders of tomorrow with the knowledge to tackle this global challenge. The youth today are actively asking to be educated on the risks, effects, policy decisions, and basically the whole ecosystem that surrounds inaction to address climate change. The systems currently in place don't seem to be capable of addressing this need, in its current form at least. And from my own personal experience with the Indian education system, I can say that climate change is not really talked about, whether it's in the school or colleges. The result is that a majority of youth today have little to no exposure and are largely oblivious to this global problem. So what exactly do we need? We need primarily basic climate literacy for all, which includes educating youth about the science of climate change and the link between global warming and human actions. We need to enable an understanding of how climate change affects our livelihoods and the associated challenges it presents. There is often a myth that only people directly working in the climate change space can make any meaningful change. This is not true. If you live on Earth, you can do something about saving your home, however small it may seem. And very importantly, we need to enable an understanding of climate policy and how that can influence change. Awareness and educating the public, especially young adults, is impactful because we are the primary stakeholders in this issue. There is often a notion that policy matters are boring and dry. And of course, it is also our responsibility to communicate these boring topics in a better package that everyone can understand about what their systems are doing to mitigate severe climate change. So What can be achieved by teaching climate change in schools? First up, accountability from political structures. We will have informed and aware youth who are better positioned and are empowered to elect responsible leaders as well and hold them accountable for their commitments and actions. We will have conscious leadership because schools will shape the leaders and change makers of tomorrow. They can then make informed decisions bearing the needs of the planet and its inhabitants in mind. Schools will nurture responsible consumers who are well informed and demand more sustainable products and services. They can hold companies accountable for their actions and enable the creation of a greener economy. And of course, our communities will be better empowered to address the risks and threats and will be able to protect their own livelihoods and adapt to the changing climate in a more proactive way. So I think to sum up, I would say that there is definitely an urgent need to prepare the children and youth of today who will be growing up in an era where they will be responsible for tackling and developing solutions to climate change as their primary existential crisis. And for that, its inclusion in higher education will prove an important tool for supporting these solutions. With that, I would like to hand over to Deepak, who will give you a short overview about the policy landscape with regards to climate change and the associated developmental challenges. Thank you.
Hello, is my voice audible?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, so I'm just going to switch off my video because my net is a little patchy. Um, so hi guys, my name is Deepak John, and I've been volunteering with the Carbon Initiative Forum. So I just wanted to take you all through a very brief on the climate policies, on the basics of that and how we understand climate policy. Let me first start off with the Paris Agreement, which is one of the historic milestone in global consensus for building ambition for climate change. And it was adopted by 196 countries in COP21 in Paris by the year 2015. And there were three key ambitions that were addressed by this Paris Agreement. One was to limit the global warming and focus on net zero emissions, to increase adaptation to changing climate change and build resilience, and thirdly, to increase the financial flows towards a greener world and more consistently. And to this regard, many countries have voluntarily put forward their nationally determined contributions, which is called NDCs, and these are at the heart of Paris Agreement, where the NDCs embody the efforts by each country to reduce emissions and adapt to the impacts of climate change. And for this reason, each countries are requested to outline and communicate this post 2020 climate actions. However, when we add up the NDCs, it's not enough. And we are still far away from our target of 1.5 degree temperature levels. And there is a lot more to be done in regards to achieving these goals for the agreement. Next slide, please. So more often than not, there is a general notion that development and climate policy cannot go hand in hand. But as you see on the graph below, we see that these sectors are high growth and employment sectors, but also has high potential for climate change mitigation. But that kind of reinforces that climate policy is an integral part of the low carbon development. Next slide, please. So as you can see, the statement states very clearly, development is not the antithesis for climate success. It is a precondition. But in order that policies are effective, generally what we or nations attempt is doing by borrowing and adapting policy solutions, that is kind of a shortcut to policy development. Uh, but it is but it is not contextualized to the local context, and that affects policies and effectiveness. For example, the renewable energy certificate policy in India, which was adapted from the renewable obligation certificate market in UK and the portfolio standards in US, has shown mixed results in India. So what we understand is that policies from other countries, whether we are importing or developing, it requires careful consideration and adaptation to the realities of the ground. And if the realities are properly managed and considered, the effectiveness of these policies will be much more evident and effective in the long term. Next slide, please. So here we're looking a specific case for India while it's moving to a more low carbon environment, a low carbon development. So there are various issues that generally India is facing in this regard. First of all, with regards to its political structure itself, when it is divided into multiple states, the policymakers needs to tailor these policies to not just the state level, but also to the municipal and the corporation level, even to the level of panchayat. Although India has devised National Action Plan for Climate Change as well as State Action Plan, but how it needs to go down and break down to a level at which local actions can take place, that is something that makes it much more prudent and needs to be prioritized how that can be devised for a local context. Secondly, the overarching policy priorities will design the low carbon policies. So for example, in India, 60% of the population of the rural livelihoods is in agriculture, and similarly poverty elevation is another important factor. Now, unless and until the development priorities are um, carefully considered with the climate policies, the integration of low carbon growth policies will not be effective. Hence, there is a greater need that whenever there is a consideration for development by policymakers, the climate challenges are integrated within them. Also, there is now, since India is opening up to larger foreign direct investments, there is a slight uh, overarching uh, overarching or oversight regards to which investments are better for India in terms of its environmental sustainability. Now, if you go to the next slide, next slide, please. So in investments, in terms of investments, we see the companies have started to adopt a variety of carbon and energy management practices and have set targets to reduce their GHG emissions. This kind of approach follows the new mantra of triple bottom line approach, where if you look at the of the matrix on the left, the circle, the ESG, the environment social governance rating for corporations are very much factored in today's investment scenario. When you consider social angle, governance, environment as a major investment factor and for decision making. On the right, you can see that there is the ESG plays a major role in terms of investment criteria at this point of time, as well as investment decisions. 66% of them are kind of incorporate these in ESG factors for the decisions making. Next slide, please. Right. So what we understand is that although government has taken law although government has taken important steps towards reduction in carbon emissions, there is a critical lack of political will for climate actions, and that requires that uh, the government leaders are much more engaged with citizens who demand actions. In this regard, the windows of opportunity theory says that most likely to reach a political agenda when three things occur at the same time. One is the problem is perceived as important and urgent by the public and the elites. Secondly, there is a political commitment to adopt a solution which is high. And thirdly, there are viable policy solutions that are available at the disposal. Hence, it is important that engaged citizens organize public issues and advocacy coalitions that can build public and political will for climate change action. These groups are very vital to the achievement of strong and sustained climate change policies. Next slide, please. So in the end, we realize that it's not that government and decision makers are not aware of of these problem, but the reluctant to act is for a variety of reasons that vary from one region to the other. And hence we see that global action in such cases requires you know, global movements like, for example, Future for Fridays by Greta Thunberg. They kind of reinforces the importance of each one of us to educate ourselves on the science, the policies, and the actions that is taken. And nuanced opinions and critical temperament will be helpful in galvanizing local action that then snowballs into a larger national and global implementation of such solutions. So climate action is not just transdisciplinary, it's not just a science of it that matters, but we need to understand that it's transdisciplinary it's a transdisciplinary engagement where you have scientific, social, political, and cultural and philosophical spheres coming in together. And right now, what Carbon Initiative Forum does in terms of improving this awareness, similarly, the climate journalism is a critical instrument in breaking down the science of climate change and bringing the awareness on climate change towards the youth and bringing more engaged citizens into the scenario. And with that, I will give my baton to Vinayak to take it forward.
Hi guys. Um, Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to all, depending on wherever you are. I'm Vinayak and I recently joined Carbon Initiative Forum as a volunteer. And I'll take it forward for this presentation on climate action and climate education. We've seen how Vishvak and Deepak have gone over the different challenges that climate action, like climate change poses to our planet, and how climate action and climate policy can help us out here. And through like the lot of challenges that we see, we cannot afford to like lose hope and get into the mode of we don't have to do anything, we're like doomed anyway, and undermine the very people who are trying to do those things and those who might be moved to do them. Revolution need like each one of us to do our part, and what the planet needs today is a revolution in the way we see societies and a relationship with earth change. We can see numerous examples from around the world where we see positive changes happening in the direction of reversing climate change. Recently, a Dutch court asked Shell Corporation, one of the biggest oil companies in the world, to cut 45% of emissions by 2030. Then President Joe Biden, who was recently elected as the President of the United States in January 2021, has introduced the Green New Deal, whose primary goal is to decarbonize the economy by reducing the carbon emissions to net zero by switching to 100% renewable energy sources. It aims to possibly ban the sale of gasoline and diesel vehicles by 2030. President Biden also suspended Trump-era oil drilling leases in Alaska's 19.6 million acre Arctic refuge, which is home to the polar bears, the snow owls, caribous, and numerous other species in that ecosystem, as well as the refuge also supports the local indigenous communities. Another big example we saw from one of the biggest polluters in the world, which is China, is that President Xi Jinping committed to peak emissions before 2030 and reach net zero by the year 2060. Next slide, please. Another positive story that I would like to stress on is from our backyard in India, in the state of Kerala. Bring Back Foundation started this initiative called Bring Back Initiative, wherein they focus on climate change, on climate education and policies to help solve the climate crisis by creating grassroots level changes. Excuse me. By creating grassroots level changes in education structure to create a global sustainable impact. They want to inspire action among the youth for the climate change movement by bringing them opportunities as well as awareness about the situation. They regularly hold discussions with key stakeholders like policymakers, academicians, and environmentalists, to name a few, via their capacity building programs to push climate policy changes, as well as addition of climate education in schools and colleges. They also hold workshops to identify environmental issues and understanding how climate education can be a part of the solution. Next slide, please. This slide shows an initiative called Panorama.Solutions, which is a partnership initiative that documents and promotes examples of inspiring replicable solutions across a range of conservation and sustainable development topics, enabling cross-sectoral learning and inspiration. Panorama serves a wide variety of institutions and individuals to distill and share their experiences, challenges, lessons learned, and success factors. It currently connects over 200 solution providers who represent NGOs, government institutions, academia, international organizations, foundations, and the private sector for interregional learning and knowledge exchange. The case studies that are present on this website are documented as solutions using a standard format that identifies replicable building blocks, which includes key success factors and the context in which the solutions were implemented. Solutions are shared on the online platform and through publications, and are also integrated into capacity development activities and workshops. One heads up that or disclaimer that I would like to give here is that be careful to not be like a copycat and try to see how it can be adapted to your local or your country's problem that you're trying to solve. Next slide, please. Now I'd like to introduce Sanju from Sustera Foundation, who would like to share his experiences in that through that organization.
Thank you, Vinayak. Am I audible?
Yes, you are, Sanju.
All right, thank you. So, Sustera Foundation, along with a lot of youth other organizations from across India and specifically Kerala, has been focusing on youth-led initiatives and empowering youngsters to take up climate action at various levels. One of the programs has been the amazing Climate Leadership Program, where the focus was on identifying youngsters of the age group 20 to 35 and training them to become climate leaders in their local region or their state or the nation they are from. So this, as of now, for the past 3 years, we have been doing this program on a pilot basis in Kerala. Around 50 plus youngsters have been trained who are now working on various levels of climate action. One, primarily through supporting local governance initiatives. So in Kerala, Kerala has a very strong local governance network based on its decentralized development. And every panchayat and municipality has its own departments which work on climate-based action. So here, especially in regard to disasters, because Kerala being a state which has been extensively prone to disasters, lots of work have been done, led by youngsters who are working on even COVID action as well as climate action. Secondly, there has been initiatives by youngsters who are from the climate leadership programs who are working on upcycling campaigns. So in Alleppey, in Vembanad area, which is the longest lake in India, there are a couple of initiatives which has been done as part of making Mohamba, a village in Alleppey, model village, where we have an amazing upcycling initiative where youngsters are involved in collecting pre-owned fabric from various institutions, and a couple of women are being trained on a couple of women from vulnerable regions have been trained on converting them into new products, and a couple of youngsters are working on selling these products as an initiative as part of their social enterprises. Apart from that, there are some amazing models in regard to campaigns done in the state of Kerala. One of them is BBG initiative, which was mentioned by Vinayak a few minutes back. Another one is a major straw campaign, which was done to phase out straw from the state of Kerala as well, which has also then led to the government of Kerala coming up with a solid waste management policy, which focused on phasing out plastic in different stages. Apart from that, one of the other initiatives have been Climate Launchpad, which has been done by Climate Collective. And in Kerala, we have been organizing a couple of programs. Also in other states, also Climate Collective is doing this by supporting entrepreneurs working on climate-based action. Because a lot of the college students, especially engineering students during their masters or a degree program, come up with various technological solutions for improving energy efficiency, carbon sequestration, water recharging technologies, and so on. But many of them mostly die out after they pass out college or so. So here we are trying to support such interesting initiatives, which when scaled up can become a major solution for water crisis and also the climate crisis. So some of the examples has been we have been supporting a few startups working on hydrogen-based engines, boat engines especially. Then we have been supporting a couple of startups which are working on IoT-based solutions for municipalities and municipal corporations, which would increase the efficiency of segregation for waste. As well, some of the startups we mentor has been working on improving industrial efficiency of production and manufacturing, and some of the other startups has been working on water recharge and water purification and filtration based solutions. Now and especially I need to highlight a special program called Climate Ready for Women, where women based climate startups have been supported, and Kerala Startup Mission also played a major role in this. And across the nation also now a lot of these incubation platforms are focusing on supporting startups which focus on climate based solutions. One of the other interesting solution has been something based on insect food. In LFP and also in Bangalore we have a few startups working on insect based food, which is 100 times much better in terms of reducing water footprint and carbon footprint, and also which consumes less energy while it provides a lot of protein and other nutritional source. So a few startups have been working on insect based food also as solution. And lastly, I would like to mention about resilience leadership program that we have been organizing now. As you know, as it was mentioned in the presentation, the number of disasters in our country has been on the rise, and this is the time when more youth need to be trained to become more resilient, and that's why we have been organizing a couple of disaster resilience leadership training for youngsters, not just climate disasters, but also how to tackle or how to manage COVID as a disaster too. So this is this work is happening, and we plan to intend to expand it to the other parts of the country too, because this is the need for the moment. We need to create a set of youngsters who can take up leadership during a disaster, because as of now we have seen a lot of them have felt helpless, not being able to do anything during a disaster, or not being able to know whom to contact or so we are trying to bridge that gap too. Yeah, thank you, Vinayak. Over to you.
Cool. Thank you so much, Sanju, for discussing with us about Sustera Foundation and its work in the field of climate action. Now it's time for some fun. So we'll play a quick round of climate change and climate action, more towards climate action and bingo. I am posting one link for the grid for the bingo on the chat. Everyone, whenever you can, just open it. So I'll go with the rules quickly on the side. So there will be 25 words in the bingo, and the words will be called out one by one at random. The words will be related to activities for bringing positive impact in the climate change and climate action field. And the first 3 people to get 5 consecutive words in a row, column, or title will win a climate goodie from Car. So as soon as you guys can, I'll wait for a minute or so that everyone can open that link, and then I can then start calling out the words. there is an option to raise hand or something, right? If I'm not wrong. Yeah. Does anyone know that in Zoom?
Yeah, raise hand is there when you click on those three dots. You'll see an option for raise hand.
Okay, yeah. So
I just raised my hand, for example.
Oh yes, I can see it now. So yeah,
Yeah.
whenever people are ready opening the link, maybe I'll wait for one more minute. Just raise their hands so that I'll know people are ready. Okay, then I'm just basically waiting for a few more people to do that if they can. So, okay, so I'll get started. I'm hoping, what do you think, Rashi? Because only I guess 2 people raised their hands so far, so I'm not sure. Can everyone hear me? In case, or did everyone receive the link?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
I think we can start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start then. Okay, the first word that I'm going to do is planted a tree. So, and on this, just to quickly tell, you can click on the word that I'm announcing, and if you have done it in the past, just click on it and it'll show a cross mark. It'll cancel it out for you on the ticket. And one more thing, so to tell if you are done with the row, column, or diagonal, like 5 consecutive words, just take a screenshot and send it to us on the chat and we can verify it. You can also tell on the chat that you are done and we can just hold it for a minute and just verify your ticket. Okay, going back to the words, the next word that I'm going to do is know my country's NDCs. Also, Anushka from our team will also keep posting the word as soon as I'm announcing it, so that in case somebody misses out when I'm announcing it, they can check the one on the chat as well. The third word that I'm doing is bike to get around. So if anyone have ever done like biking to, let's say, go get groceries, or let's say go bike to work, etc., they can cross out this word. The next word I'll do is joined a local climate chapter. So even before our talk on joining a local climate chapter, if you've done it, that's great. You can go ahead and cross that out from the bingo ticket. The next one would be demanded climate action from politicians. So you will always, a lot of times you will see that people create petitions, or they will also help you out framing an email and sending it out to your local politicians. So if you've done that, something like that in the past, you can cross that out. Next word, like is pretty hot, even pre-COVID, even now, is did single-use plastic. So if you've started to avoid using items in single-use plastic, maybe use your own grocery bags, etc., or just avoid that straw when you go to get your frappuccino or something like that, you can go ahead and cross that out. The next word is avoided a product with palm oil. So palm oil has led to immense amount of deforestation, especially in the Amazon rainforest. So it's extremely critical that we try and avoid palm oil, because we never know that it's been sustainably harvested or not. So yeah, if you've ever done that, please go ahead and cross it out. The next one that I'll do is shop secondhand. So anytime you've bought, like, let's say from your, let's say, local thrift shop or from a friend, if you've, instead of buying something new, you can go ahead and do that. Next one is volunteer for climate initiatives. It could be as simple. You can also think about that it can overlap with your joining a climate chapter, as well as, let's say, you went for a local cleanup. you help in the community in some other way, maybe. So you can do that, volunteer for climate initiatives. The next one is calculated your carbon footprint. So if you've ever used, there are a lot of websites online which you can go and actually calculate your footprint based on your daily activities. There is one from Carbon Initiative Forum as well, which we can actually post the bingo. We can also put it over on the chat. So in case you've never done that before, you can go ahead and do that today. And maybe that will help you be a little bit more conscious in your day-to-day activities. The next one is composted kitchen waste. So we all know that, let's say if we do not, when we throw it in the trash, it just goes to the landfill, and all of this organic matter in a landfill, because of the absence of aerobic conditions, they lead to release of methane, which is even more harmful than carbon dioxide for global warming. So composting kitchen waste is becoming really big these days. And if you've done it, please go ahead and cross it out from your bingo ticket. Next one is upcycled an old product. So anytime you've used your old pair of, let's say, jeans or your bed sheet, like, or some other cloth, and just use it as a rag or something else in your home, go ahead and cancel that out from your ticket. By the way, in case you guys have any questions, just do. Oh, one guy at the same time just got a bingo. So Nishant, if you can just share your ticket to us, I guess you can share it privately to any one of us, or to just post it over
You
here.
can share it, yeah, on the chat, probably that could work.
Yeah, anything is fine. We can just maybe take like a minute and just verify your ticket.
So I'm joining in from my phone. It won't let me send the file.
Okay.
So I can send
Nishant,
a
maybe you can
picture
send it to me.
Okay, I'll send it to you, Rashi.
I have a question. What do you mean by hang dry clothes?
Okay, hang dry clothes mean just putting sun drying clothes outside using a clothesline instead of using like a dryer, electrically driven dryer. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry if I was not clear before. Okay. Sorry,
Okay,
Rashi,
I got Nishant's ticket. Yeah, one sec. Just gonna, let me see if I can share it on the group. Chat. Okay, I don't think we can share photos on this.
Okay, you can just verify it on your end. I guess we can then.
Yeah, I'll just do that. One sec. So he's got upcycled a product, planted a tree, joined a local city chapter. Which one is this? Did single-use plastic and biked to get around. He got a diagonal.
Nice. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Nishant, I guess Rashi, we can share the climate goodie part separately, right?
Yeah. At the end, we'll just discuss that.
Okay, sure, got it. Okay, let me continue ahead. We've got one already, so there are two more remaining. So the next word is watch the climate documentary. So there are numerous documentaries that are coming out these days. There's a very famous one by David Attenborough. There's these ones, Seaspiracy, Cowspiracy, etc. There's so many ones that are there for climate. So if you've ever watched even one of them, I guess you can cross it out from your bingo ticket. The next one is actually hang dry clothes that one of the participants actually asked me. So yeah, if you use the clothesline, I'll just repeat, if you use the clothesline, which is pretty common in India, but not in a lot of other countries. But if you have gone ahead and taken an initiative on your end to hang dry clothes in the sun, you can go ahead and cross that out. The next one is use public transport. So if you use like subway or your bus to, let's say, commute to work or for any other thing, and you've ditched, let's say, using your own car for that matter, then you can go ahead and cross it out. The next one is no Paris Agreement goals. So Deepak went over the Paris Agreement that happened in 2015. So if you knew about the Paris Agreement goals beforehand, you can go ahead and cross it out. The next one is signed up for paperless billing. So we all get
So I have
like
a-
statement. Sorry, go ahead.
So I have a question. CIF team members cannot win, obviously, right?
Yeah, that is true. Okay, I didn't even know that was an option. But yeah, sorry. Okay. Yeah, so sign up for paperless billing means like if you're getting any credit card statements or any other bills for electricity, water, etc., any kind of utility bills, etc. If you've opted to go paperless, that you get e-bills instead of the physical bills, you can go ahead and cross it out from your ticket.
Mm.
The next one is no SDGs or the Sustainable Development Goals that have been introduced by the UN. So if you know them already, you can go ahead and cross it out. If not, I guess I would request you guys to maybe go ahead and check them out today. The next one is, which is a little bit difficult maybe, but yeah, use renewable energy. So if at any point of time, I guess in the past, you have use electric vehicles, or maybe you've gone the extra mile and installed solar panels at your place, etc., then you can go ahead and cross it out. The next one is buy local. So if you have ever opted to go buy local instead of, let's say, ordering it maybe online or something, e-commerce website, or from another country or another city, then you can go ahead and do that. The next one is use energy efficient appliances. So if you opted for, let's say, paying a little bit extra but going for like a 5-star rating energy efficient appliances at your place, you can go ahead and do that. The next one is, which is pretty important, is perceive climate change as my issue. So like one of the cartoon that Vishvak said, right, that everyone looks for someone else that could be solving the climate change issue. If you guys perceive that climate change is you identify yourself as that is my issue, then you can go ahead and cross that out. The next one is donated to an environment related cause. So any kind of charity that maybe plants trees or I guess helps in, let's say, cleaning up your local communities, or any other, let's say, invest in maybe renewable energy, something like that. I guess you can do that. Next one is segregated waste at home. So if you have started doing like separating your recyclable separately, dry waste, wet waste at home, then you can go ahead and mark that out from your ticket. And the last one is engage with citizens on climate change. So yeah, that sums up. It seems like, I guess, only
No one got a
Nishant.
bingo.
Yeah, and only Nishant was the one.
Wow. I got like 3 bingos.
So
I got like 4 as well, but I didn't want to say it.
Same here. Same here. I've got 3.
So do you cross hang dry clothes or you do not?
Yeah, you
If
can.
you have done it, you cross
If you've
it.
done it, like, yeah.
No,
Like,
I mean, I didn't get the question actually. Again, sorry to say.
oh no,
I mean,
so like,
if I'm using a dryer and then I'm like putting the clothes like out in the sun, that's what you mean? That means
no,
No,
like I'm using
not-
extra electricity? Sorry?
like you avoid using the dryer and use the sun as the dryer. I mean, in that sense.
Okay.
Sorry if it was confusing.
Did anyone
Um,
else win?
So if you cross all of them, you win, right?
Not all
No,
of them,
not
like
all of
5 in a
them.
row in any row, column, or diagonal.
Okay.
Did anyone else have the same confusion that we're not looking for people getting all 25?
Okay.
Should we go ahead, or I guess should I let people take a minute and maybe verify on their end?
Do you get the result somewhere, or it's us who have to inform you?
You can see, you have to just click on each word. So it will put a cross.
Yeah, no, I'm asking you whether you get all
Uh.
the results, like whoever has played the game, you get that result, or like you have a result sheet with you, or each one of us will have to inform you how this application
No,
works.
you will have to inform us.
Yeah, the application just helps you in crossing out the words, but it does not inform us at the back end. So that's why
Okay,
we were
so
asking if you can.
anyone in the audience has crossed like one line
Correct.
or two.
Yeah, any one
Fully.
line is enough. Actually, any one line is enough. They can just like how Nishant told us, they can just tell us, and we'll just cross verify it quickly and give it to them, like as in mark them as a winner.
I think no one. What about the person who has written answers in the chat?
Oh no. So we are on the chat. I don't know if at least on the main group, nobody said.
Anushka Marak has been answering in the chat, I think.
Oh yeah. She's from our team. She's just helping out.
Oh, okay.
By putting the words what I'm announcing, so that in case people missed it or maybe they were not able to understand what I'm saying, so it'll help them out in crossing it out as well.
I guess we have just one winner.
Yeah, just one winner. Yeah.
Which is strange, but yeah.
I was very sad.
So I think Pop is also not eligible. So
yeah, no, Pop can win. No, Pop can win.
I guess you guys.
Anyone other than CIF, I think, is okay to win. So if anyone else has got, please let us know.
If anybody in the audience is not winning, you can give the prize to me.
Dan. Is that Drishya?
Yes.
Dan, we'll give it to you. How many did you get though? You can share your ticket with me.
Or I guess we can also do one thing is people can announce how much the next would be the maximum number of crosses they get, but not in a line, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
In total.
Yeah, we could do that if anyone has. You can put like how many maximum have you got?
Are we audible to you guys?
I got 13 crosses, Mahi says. Out of
Oh,
25, Mahi?
Yes, I got 13 crosses.
Okay, great.
Oh, that's great then. I guess she can be next winner. I guess she got half of it.
Yeah, so yeah, she could be number 2. Is anyone else there which is higher? Or maybe lower could be the third winner. Drishya, Komal, any of y'all, how much did y'all get?
I got 24, so
oh wow.
That's why I'm out of the race.
If you got 24, then how did you not get a row?
No, I guess she didn't know that POP is
I
playing.
got it. I was not doing it when he was announcing. I just did it like on my own. So I've got like I've crossed all of them.
Yeah.
I think I just had one confusion, so maybe I don't know.
Okay,
no, my
so
country NDC. By that.
What was the confusion with that? Sorry.
The question is, no, my country's NDC.
Yes. So that's like your country's nationally determined contributions, which countries are doing based on achieving the Paris Agreement goals.
So each country has their own. So we are saying, since if you belong to India, you know what India's NDCs are regarding like renewable energy or forestry, etc., all the goals that we have set.
I guess if no one else, I guess we have 3 winners would be Nishant, Mahi, and Drishya, right? I think.
Yep.
Okay, that's great.
Great.
Sorry.
I just want to add one point for all the people who are like for the participants. So we are going to have a citizen climate lobby advocacy workshop on 9th. So all of you, who have picked up citizens climate lobby from this workshop, can be part of that workshop, learn how to be, become a member of Citizens Climate Lobby, and you can easily, although it's like they will be covering the US angle, but it's located in every country, so they will help you understand that how you can be part of CCL in your country. Thank you.
Okay, Vishwa, can you go to the next slide? Just give me 1 second. Okay, yeah. So to sum up, we would like to go over how we can transform the way, like how your country can transform the way it fights climate change. In a nutshell, of what this slide, what we'll be going over would be like what will be the key takeaways from our presentation today. The first one being one should ensure to get educated on climate policy and related themes, as well as spread awareness for the same. Like Vishvak and Deepak had gone over this in length, climate education is really important. We are focusing on climate education for youth, so every one of you should try and get educated on climate policy related themes, as well as try to ensure your friends, peers, family members, etc., if you can help them become aware as well. Next point being contributing towards influencing climate policy at the local level. You can be part of a campaign to convince elected officials to take action to reduce global warming, go to the doorstep, use social media to get them involved. You can also involve your school, college, university, or any other institution you're part of or you represent to create a bigger impact. Next point being focusing on climate justice by joining social justice issues with environmental issues. The plea for environment justice deals with ensuring basic human rights as well. It includes access to clean water, clean air, power, and shelter to each and everyone on this planet. According to an Indian academic, Tyagarajan Jayaraman, the realization that it is not just global warming that we're dealing with, but global warming in an unequal and unjust world has yet to sink in. Without equality and equity, we cannot effectively fight climate change, according to this climate policy expert. The next point we like to bring up is engaging with focus groups such as women, vulnerable communities, and the poor, so that we can ensure that this theme of climate action can be reached out to each and everyone in the community. Lastly, we encourage the mainstreaming of climate change and related policy as compulsory curriculum in schools and colleges, because the more we educate the youth or the children, the more we can bring out the change today and tomorrow. With this, I'd like to, with this, we sum up today's presentation from Carbon Initiative Forum. We would like to request you to follow us on the different social media handles that are mentioned on the page, as well as if you belong to India, you can reach out to us to join a local city chapter of Carbon Initiative Forum. Thank you. And we can open the house, I guess, for questions.
Yeah, I don't think we have questions.
Yeah, none on the chat, in case somebody wants to unmute themselves. And
I have one question.
Go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Mikey.
Okay, yeah. So before in your presentation, you said that you want to work on the city level initiatives. So do you already have some city level initiatives?
Yeah, so sorry to cut you. We actually have 6 cities that we're concentrating on, which are Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, and Pune. So we have just recently started, and we're looking for volunteers to join us who can help us partner with different colleges so we can have town hall sessions there. That is the main agenda of the city level chapters, where our volunteers are the ones who will be the face of the movement, and they will push in educating others and creating a conversation around the importance of climate policy and understanding it as well. So which city are you from?
I'm from Noida.
Yeah, so you can join the
near
Delhi
Delhi.
chapter. Yeah, you can join the Delhi chapter definitely, where you could write to us. On the last slide, we had our email ID, and I can get in touch with you regarding the same. So this is the same way where Vishvak, Vinayak, and Deepak have joined us. They're all from different cities, and they're helping us in building these city level chapters.
Oh, okay, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you. We hope to hear from you. Do we have any more questions? Or should we sum it up?
I've just put the email ID on the chat as well. If someone is interested on reaching out to us.
Thank you, Vinayak. I think, Drishya, we can sum up the event.
Another thing, I'll just one more thing, Rashi, I'll just put the carbon footprint calculator in case somebody wants that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess we can sum up.
Thank you. So yeah, thank you so much, Rashi. Thank you so much, John. Sorry. Yeah, thank you so much, Vishvak, and thank you so much, Vinayak, for joining us today. I think the session was very, very important because we do talk about policy changes, we do talk about advocacy, we talk about climate education, but I think its impact at policy level is only understood when you see it like step by step, and what change you can make on personal level, and then that can be taken forward with the help of education, and what are the goals that should be set. I think you pretty much covered a lot of such parameters which are important to actually take action. So thank you so much, and I really enjoyed the game as well. So it made it more interactive for everybody who was there. And the content you shared was also very important, like how people can be part of your initiative, how people can be part of other initiatives as well. You actually motivated them. So thank you so much for motivating the youth, and we look forward to having you and doing such sessions in future. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Drishya, just one thing. It would be great if you could share the recording with us once it's ready.
Yes, I'll
Thank
do
you.
that. I'll do that post festival if that is okay.
Yeah, definitely. No worry.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.